We are live again, ZLS 034. I'm coming into the studio. I already have more viewers than I think I've ever had before, so that's really cool. Thanks everyone for coming by. Let me get my screen up here so y'all don't have to just be interested in me the whole time. Share my screen. That's the screen I want. Is that working all right? It seems wrong. Let's see. There we go. Let's make that bigger. Y'all don't need to see me. So today we are going to try live coding an RPG game. This is something that I've always loved to do. I've said when I've been doing my guest episodes here, every time I try to learn a new technology, I reach for an RPG game. I try to make it work. There's something about that just like helps me think through things, like all the complicatedness of making a good system, crafting a good system maybe that will allow you to move fast, but also get exactly what you want done and be able to do complicated stuff. So anyways, I figured I'd start by just giving a quick rundown of what the game is. My 1 second description is it's like Pokemon crossed with Final Fantasy. So the idea is I wanted to take a lot of the interesting aspects of Pokemon, which was like types and type advantages and having a move set of only 4 moves and like having to work inside of those constraints, but also having like the idea of sort of a large scale Final Fantasy thing. So not super large scale, just not 1-on-1, I guess. So like a 6-on-6 kind of battle is kind of what I was had in mind. The different features the scope of the game maybe is I want to be able to support like local play. So this would really just be running the game in a browser, but you wouldn't necessarily need to be online. Like everything would just be running in the browser, and a person could play if they're playing like on a solo campaign or in like some sort of test room, testing out their new characters and their new moves. They could all do that without having to actually be connected. But I also want to eventually support distributed co-op play. So maybe having either versus battles or really what I really wanted to focus on was maybe trying to have some co-op where you combined your 3 best heroes with your friend's 3 best heroes and you try to beat a new boss or something like that. So that's kind of the game. I don't really have a great idea of the game world yet. I've never really got that far with my RPG games. I've always got to like where the battle's really good. But I've thought through like some progression of stuff, but yeah, that's kind of the game in a nutshell. Just wanted to give some quick background on the development philosophy because I'm already like a little bit into this game. So I wanted to give some background so I'm not just dropping y'all into the middle of just me combing through code. I think there's really, the way I tend to think of it, and I'm really just rubber ducking for everyone right now. So if you have any thoughts or any questions, go ahead and ask in the comments. I'll address them. But the idea for this game is there's kind of these layers we're going to be setting up. And so the first one at sort of the top level, we have like battles versus progression. So if you think about like Pokemon or Final Fantasy, one of these games, you kind of have this top-down world where you can go around, explore. This is kind of where like the storyline happens. But then there's these little clips inside the story, whether you're like fighting some random baddie because you walk through tall grass or you're in a cave or something, where like you have to battle and you bring up your heroes and you kind of class yours against theirs and see what happens, and maybe you get some experience for doing that, and you might level up your characters or figure out a way to have them learn some new moves, or maybe collecting even some more heroes as you progress throughout the game. So that's kind of at the top level. So it's kind of like there's the way I think of this is like this. That's the broader machine, and every time we break into one of those sort of self-contained events, where either you're doing some battle along with a storyline like a boss fight, or just random encounters, you kind of enter into this battle layer, and that's what I've been focusing on so far. For now, that's what I always focus on. This is the interesting part for me. I think progression is really cool too, but I think that's really more like, aside from the system stuff is really interesting to me. So, but apart from the system stuff, it's a lot of like content generation, like building a story, and that's fun too, I think. But yeah, it's not what grips me. Not what grips me at the moment, at least. Back to coding, yes sir. Hey Brandon, or not Brandon. So inside of the battles, I'm trying to. So battles are kind of their own black box. That's what I was getting to. And the way I've been thinking about the battles is sort of there's this top level where you kind of define some things. You define moves, which are actions your heroes can take. Units, which are like description of your actual heroes, and auras, which are like buffs or like something some lasting effect that either has some passive or active effect on the battle itself. Well, let me break these out into their own things so we can maybe go deeper into them. Because I'm wanting to go deeper, I'm realizing as I'm talking about it. So moves, units, and auras. I think there's layers in this too. There's data. I don't know if y'all can see that well. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Oh, we'll make this work. There you go. So there's data, which is like think data would be something like a move's name, for example, and that move X is tied to unit Y, or that aura B is attached to unit Y, that kind of thing. And so data is serializable. Data is really easy to work with, but I don't think data can get us all the way there. There's also like functionality in here. So by functionality, I mean, so the way I'm trying to think of this functionality is, for example, a move specifically. And we'll see this when we jump into the code. But a move, the idea for a move, in my mind, is that a unit will perform a move, and that move will essentially, be a function. But the interesting part of that move will be a function that will create a new battle data object as a result of that function running. So by that, we can kind of think of our game as these snapshots of data. So just think of it as like serializable data, a JSON object that we're starting with. We have a move, we get a whole new JSON object. So kind of immutably working through these things and just defining that as simple as possible with a simple function. I think that's the best way to think about kind of doing all this stuff. So first step I'm working in is kind of defining interesting moves and interesting auras, and I'm making them work inside of like an engine. So the engine's job is to kind of take the moves, units, and auras, sort of this data and functionality, and to provide it to a controller. And the controller is going to be either, if you're a user playing the game, the controller is going to be kind of your UI. So like you'll be able to see the game, And when it's your turn to do something, you'll be prompted to, and your UI will tell you, which move do you want to do and who do we want to do it on. So that's kind of that layer of it. We'll also probably want to do something like, if we want to get real fancy, like true AI controllers, that would be really cool to get into. But I think for now we'll probably just do like AI controllers, just like random number generators, kind of pick out something, and maybe we can like weight that a little bit. I don't know. We'll see what we get into. I don't think we'll get into that today, but that's super interesting. Also, thinking about this in terms of like co-op battles. I think for co-op battles, for example, we could ship, just for single player stuff, we could ship the data functionality and engine all over to the browser if we wanted to, and just let someone play locally. As soon as we get to having like co-op games where we need some distributed systems so that two different players on two different machines can play together, we'll want to just take these same things and kind of move them to a server, I think. So we have like a centralized distributed system, where we're letting the server like be our source of truth for all this information, and then like sending shadows of these pieces of information back to our clients. So to the user, it feels the same as if they're normally playing. They still see probably the same UI controller, but there's also like this idea of like the distributed controller, where we're probably want to end up using WebSockets or something like that to figure out, given a party whose turn is it, let's send that user's UI a prompt that says we need to get a move from you, or we need to get a target from you. So that's the whole thing. That's kind of the idea. Where we're starting at from. So where I'm at right now, I've got sort of the basics defined, and we'll take a look through that. We've got our moves and units. What's up, Corbin? How's it doing, man? So we've got our basic interfaces for a lot of this stuff. I don't think it's enough to really do everything. Oh no! Did it still say Santosh on it? Oh, I feel bad. I'll have to adjust that. Sorry, y'all, if y'all expected Santosh. I remember I adjusted that trying to do like a custom notification for yesterday, but it's all right. Yeah, I wish they did a better job of that. So I'm using StreamYard. I wish StreamYard gave you a way to do that. They just let you set the title. That's better than nothing. That's better than I think OBS lets you do easily, at least. But anyways, getting back to the topic at hand, the strategy I'm taking is I'm going to try to build interesting moves, just moves that I'm not sure if I can do. So one of them, I think the one we'll be looking at today is just doing like a damage over time effect. And that will kind of, the idea is we'll attach it to a unit. So a move, one unit will use a move that will attach a damage over time aura to another unit. And we'll want to make it so that in between each turn there, that unit is going to tick for a little bit of damage each time. So we'll see if we can make that work. Some of the interesting moves I have in mind later down the line is like doing stuff like taunts. Taunting is one of the easiest or the most interesting ones, I think, because I think like you need something in your engine to accommodate that. And the way I think of taunts is like if one of your unit uses it on an enemy, so one of your heroes taunts an enemy, that enemy would do extra damage to the unit that taunted it, but to any other unit, it would do like massively reduced damage. So the idea is it's like focused on the one unit or the one hero, and it can maybe do some extra damage to that hero. But if it tries to attack anyone else, it's going to do like nothing. So I think that makes for some interesting dynamics. And it's like a really important dynamic or mechanic, I think, for creating some interesting like boss fights where we can like establish different roles for different heroes, like setting up a tank who would really be using this taunt to like make sure that everyone's focused on him and he's protecting all of the other people on his team. And then maybe there's another hero there whose job is to kind of make sure everyone's healed, and you have other people who are trying to damage and all this stuff. It'll be fun. I hope. That's the hope. I'm also like, so I'm not getting into the controller level at this point, but I am wanting to do something where hopefully getting up on a website soon, depending on how many of these we do. I think we'll be doing more of these just because I haven't been able to get as many guests to come on lately, and I'm trying not to spend too much time. So I'm hoping we'll have a lot of time to work on this. I'm hoping we'll be able to get this up like on a website so people can play around with it, and like having this idea of just like a test room where you like make a unit just using some forms. You drop a unit into some battle, and hopefully we'll have like some canvas there where you can see them like moving around a bit, and we'll have like a test dummy in the other corner, and they'll just be able to hit the test dummy, and you'll see how much damage you can do or something like that. So just kind of playing around with what we're building, having that open to people as we're moving along and doing some cool stuff. So anyways, let's jump into the code. Let's see how this looks. Well, I've got some failing tests. That's okay. Let's just cancel that. I don't want to look at that yet. I've been doing some surgery on this at the moment. Let's take a look. We'll see I'm in an NX workspace. I've got a bunch of legacy stuff in here. I just have for reference. But here's the main thing I want to focus on is this engine library. So we can see the idea is units kind of go up here, moves kind of go in here. We got some stuff for our progression. So here we have, our heroes are aeons. Each aeon will have a string. They'll have a base that kind of defines what they are. They'll have some inherent values, which will determine inherent values and effort values will determine how well they scale. Yay! Thanks, Caitlin. I'm glad you like it. When I pitched like the Pokemon cross with Final Fantasy, I think a lot of people get excited. I do. I know I do. And Josh, what's up, man? Everyone, Josh is my good friend from way back when. We tried to build this a long time ago, and I don't know. We kind of got stuck. We actually pitched this actual game. I got a lot further on it, but I'm taking a different path with the code this time. We pitched it to like this place out in Canada, and like we got I don't know, maybe soft accepted. I don't know if it was one of those things where I don't know if it was a soft accept or a soft reject. Where like we were going to do this show the game off at a at like a game dev thing, and I think it was kind of like if we could show up to Toronto, we can make it happen. But we were in South Carolina at the time and couldn't make that happen. But yeah, glad to see AOA still lives. We'll see what we can do with this. I'm super excited to be able to do some of this stuff. But yeah, let's take a look. We've got kind of all this stuff. So this is the progression. This is outside of our black box of that battle. I think this is like into the progression side of things when we think about these layers here. If we go to the battle interface, let's take a look at this. So we can see this battle interface. This is kind of where all the data would live, where you sort of have these teams. If we look at team right down here, a team is just you'd maybe have a name, and you'd have a set of unit IDs that you're going to use to reference this dictionary of units up here. Let's take a look at unit real quick. So unit is going to have a bunch of, Oh, this is kind of like background information. This is going to be determined kind of by their progression, as well as their base attributes. Let me actually move some of these around so that's better grouped. So this is kind of like their background information, stats. If we look at that real quick, these are the basic stats for the game. If you're looking at it, it pretty much looks like Pokemon. That's okay. Speed is, yeah, I guess they have speed in Pokemon, but speed is going to work a little bit differently in our game. And recovery, I don't think they have that in Pokemon really. So the idea is kind of in between turns, you'll recover a little bit based on your recovery stat, and also recovery will also help you get healed better. So it's like another take stat to be interested in. And then types, we'll see. Let's take a look at our types. So I'm using TypeScript for all this stuff. Sorry if if I just brought up that piece of information, but yeah, we're working in TypeScript. So nice places we can easily go to JavaScript, so we can ship out to browsers and stuff like that. And Node's pretty solid these days. Dino looks really, really cool. So I'm not sure. I kind of have pipe dreams of doing like a Dino server for all this stuff, but we'll see. That may be, I don't know. Maybe Lars will convince me. He's telling me Dino is fully production ready. So we'll see. We'll see. I also like have some ideas of like using Firebase for some of this stuff, because I think like between Firebase functions, just moving from one battle to the next, that could be pretty easy to do. And like using their real-time database or the Firestore, we could kind of like we won't have to do our own WebSocket implementation for that. So I don't know. We'll kick around some ideas, but this is kind of like our types. Very similar to Pokemon. I kind of trimmed it out a little bit. I don't know if Pokemon really has these ones here: Dark, Holy, and Arcane. But I think the ideas kind of hold true. And I'm not sure. I put like somewhere in here the idea of like move strength. So you'll have move strength that gets translated to a number here. So if something's normal, it'll do normal damage. If it's strong, it'll do double damage. If weak, it'll do half damage. And if no effect, it will do 0. And then down below here, we have a attack type map. So this would be like the rock, paper, scissors giant tree. So fire attack would do weak against a fire unit. A fire attack would be weak against a water unit. Yeah, so Crutchcorn or Corbin, I'm curious what you mean by this, because do you mean fairy or psychic? Oh yeah, well maybe you mean neither. Yeah, I didn't get that far in the games. I like quit after what was it? I think like the Emerald ones. Praise Arcane. Yes, I've seen those memes. Okay, so that's like the Pokemon God. What type is it? Is it fairy or is it psychic? That's kind of what I modeled Holy after, was psychic. And there's definitely a dark in Pokemon too. But my dark kind of encompasses ghost and dark and all this stuff. What's the best gen, Caitlin? I need to know. I think I played white and black. Was there a Pokemon white and black? I don't know. I have not played any of the ones for the Arceus can change its type. What? I did not know they could do that. But yeah, I agree. First gen, I think, was the best. Silver and Gold were all right. They kind of started going downhill after that. Yeah. Diamond Pearl. Okay. Diamond Pearl, that's before White and Black, right? That's the generation before White and Black. I think so. I don't know. You could be a girl in Silver. Anyways, I'll try. I'm getting so distracted by everyone, but it's awesome to see people talking. and being as passionate for Pokemon-based video games as I am. But yeah, like the idea is this is a giant map, and we'll see there's one for each one of these types, and it's just going to map to something. Now, once we get the website up, like this will be one of the first things I do is just a table, because y'all know I love tables. Yeah, I love a good table. So we'll show just like a type map showing how the different effects attacks hurt each other. And hopefully it will be very Pokemon relatable. So nice, y'all. All right, so that's kind of what we got here for the type stuff. Let's go back to our battle interface here. See more of what's going on. So that's our units. Our units have basically this stuff. This is describing who they are, and this stuff is kind of like their current state. They can either be alive or they can't be. And hopefully we'll have like resurrection stuff too. Resurrection stuff should be like super, super hard to do, but I want it to be a thing. And we'll have health. So inside of our stats, we kind of have the concept of a max health. And health is kind of like their current health. Their current, what, Josh? Get out. Get out. Oh, it's okay though. Yeah, we still love you. It'll have some move IDs. This is just a way to tie a unit to its moves, and moves is kind of up here. I'm a sucker for like whatever you call this. The I don't know, the style of doing I made this all up. I'm pretty I'm honored by that, Josh. Thank you. We'll have an energy. So the idea for the game too is, as a resource, every unit will have energy. So some moves they'll use will allow them to gain energy, and others will allow them to spend it. So because you only have 4 moves you can come up with, bring into a battle with your moveset, like Pokemon, you'll have to be like really really conscientious about this, like making sure I've got enough energy generators and enough energy like consumers to do my maximum damage. And hopefully there'll be cool movesets you can come up with for this, and like specific roles you could have for one hero, or maybe like a combination of heroes may work very well together with certain movesets or something like that. And then speed points. This kind of gets into the way we'll do speed differently. So in Pokemon, you kind of have a turn, which is I think they get up to like 2-on-2 battles in some of the new stuff, and that seemed kind of interesting to me. But I really dislike the way they do it, because they still have it where like all 4 units move, all 4 units get exactly 1 turn. It's just who gets to use it first. That speed determines in Pokemon. So what I'm wanting to do with this is, I think I'm not sure if I came up with this myself or this may be from Final Fantasy. I'm not sure. I definitely based it off of like Final Fantasy X, which I thought was like an amazing turn-based game, where you kind of have, the idea is you have this turn list. And I remember very vividly, like you see each person's portrait on that list, and you say, okay, it's my turn now, but next turn it will be this person, and then this person, and this person. And if you use like a move that increases your speed, you will, oh no, Corbin, get out. I just played. You can still hang around. Sorry, I didn't mean to be mean. So you kind of had this visualization of the turn list, and you could see if you did something that adjusted speed, it would affect like not only your spot in the line, but also how many spots in the line you had. So if you had this one unit that had like massive speed, you could have like turn after turn after turn after turn, which I thought was super cool. Oh no, I'm losing my audience. No one's here's playing Final Fantasy. Oh, it's okay. Y'all missed out. Y'all really missed out. I really love those games. I definitely got into I definitely got into Pokemon first. And I remember at the time I really disliked for example, that you could only have 4 moves at a time with Pokemon. That sounds super restrictive, and like I wanted more. So when I got into Final Fantasy, it kind of felt like that. So that was super cool, because you could have like spell books with like hundreds of moves in it, even in like the SNES stuff. Or my first one, I went back and played all the Final Fantasies after this, but my first one was Final Fantasy VII, which was for the PlayStation. Let me see if I can find like just the cover for that, because I still remember the cover art and being like, "Oh, this is so cool." Let's see. Okay, here we go. How do I show this best? I don't know. Let's just drag it over here. This was the cover for Final Fantasy VII, and this is like PlayStation times. But I just remember seeing this, like this one guy with the huge sword going against whatever massive thing was going on over here. Yeah, that was cool. And playing as Cloud. So actually, no, I haven't. But Caitlin, no one else is going to get this because none of y'all played Final Fantasy. But Caitlin, I named my main character Zach in Final Fantasy VII. And that was the most confusing thing ever. Because if you played it, the main character is supposed to be named Cloud. And I always named my main character Zach, which I did. But Cloud has an existential crisis where he finds out that he is a clone of someone else who's named Zach. And they never explained this if you rename your character Zach. So it was a whole thing. That was it's a very weird. Oh, shoot. Sorry. If you haven't played Final Fantasy VII by now, I don't think you'll play it. But yeah, I think that's old enough that I can't spoil it. But that's a whole thing. Final Fantasy VII is a weird enough story as it is without having that whole thing. Okay, fair enough. It's a very weird story without having to have that confusion poured into. So, anyways, speed points is part of your state we're going to use. So, maybe I can actually show like our unit tests to do some of this stuff. Where did I have that? I'm halfway through like this next turn function where the idea is we'll be sort of determining as we go from the end of one turn to the start of a new one when someone's about to take a turn. So kind of in between turns. This next turn function is going to take that battle and create a new battle. And I've got a bunch of tests in here because I just implemented sort of the turn-taking system. And we can see it's kind of like this zero-sum based turn system. So we can see here, this is our starting battle. And what we're doing is we're creating a bunch of test units here, and we're giving them some speed stats. So their speed stat is kind of like how good they are at speed. And their speed points is how many, like, think of it kind of in terms of where they are in position. Like thinking of that Final Fantasy X like turn list. So at the start, everyone has 0 speed points. How many speeds do you have? There you go. Exactly. So at the start, the idea is whoever has the most speed points is going to go next. So at the start, it's a tie. It's a 3-way tie. So we'll actually go to their speed stat itself. There's that tie. And just to start, we showed that the turn winner for the first one was Unit 3, which had like the highest speed stat. When you level up speed stats, you get ADHD. Nice, Corbin. I must have cried it earlier. Awesome. All right. Anyways, so the idea is you take up you take the sum of all speed stats on the board, sort of. And we're going to, because this person won the turn, we're going to subtract that from their current speed points first. And then each unit will gain, including the one that won the turn, will gain some speed points equal to their speed stat. So we can see this kind of in round, this will be the end of the first turn, what we expect to happen. So we expect after the first turn This guy sort of lost 600 points, but then gained 300. So he is at negative 300 right now. This one didn't win the turn, so they just gained their 200. This person didn't win the turn, so they got their 100. And the reason this is called zero sum is because it's all designed to keep this kind of at zero. So you'll see 100 plus 200 plus negative 300 is 0. So for this one, player 2 has the most speed points, so they're the turn winner. They're the person who wins the turn. And you kind of just keep going doing that. So now that player 2's got it, they lose 600 points because that's how many is on the board at the moment. And so they lose 600, that's negative 400, plus their 200 goes to negative 200. Player 1 had 100, get another 100, they go to 200. Player 3 had negative 300, they get 300, they're at 0. So this all works out, still all adds up to 0 if you're keeping track. That's the idea. This all came from, so back in the day, I did played World of Warcraft, and they had this like DKP system that was pretty much this. It's like a zero-sum system where every time I think it was for like dungeon kill points or something like that. The idea is you'd keep track of this as a guild to figure out who got like the next piece of gear that dropped. And so as soon as something dropped, you'd kind of assign a value to it. The person who got it would have those points subtracted from them, and everyone would get some points for it having been dropped. That's kind of where all this stuff came from. So if you're old school World of Warcraft, this may look familiar. But I love something about this system. I really loved it. I was just like, yes, this. I wouldn't be surprised if this is how Final Fantasy actually does that system too. Like it seems like too good for me to have like invented this as the speed system. Anyways, to make this, I haven't done this yet. This part's not done yet. Like the speed system's in here, but to get to a point where we have like a turn list, like for Final Fantasy X, where you can see, okay, like the way this is actually going to turn out, we'll have to like kind of scroll through all the different tests to see it, but like. Because player 3 has 3 times as much speed as player 1 in their attributes, they'll get 3 times as many turns. That's kind of how the math turns out. So if we think of like our turn list, if that's showing like the next 10 turns, we'll probably see, I don't know, off the top of my head, see this guy 4 times, guy 3 times, and maybe, I don't know, maybe this guy 3 times. I don't know. Math's hard. This guy would probably be more like 6 and then 3 and 1, maybe. I don't know. But the idea is to create that list. Like we have all the data we need at this point based off of just the data we're looking at here. Oops. We just have to kind of like sim it out. That's going to be the idea. We're going to take this one state and we're going to simulate going forward 10 turns and just keep track of who the turn winner was each time. And that way we can make that turn list. So that's the thinking there. Like I said, I haven't done that yet. I don't think we actually need to do that as part of the engine. Like that would probably just be part of like the UI or the controller layer to say, like maybe it's some function we can put into the engine and export it. So like, based on this battle, here's what's going to happen for the next 10 turns. And then like have that imported into the UI layer. I think that's probably how we'll do it. But yeah, that's the idea. So cool stuff there. There's a lot of stuff that happens to happen in between turns. So this next turn function is far from over. But we'll see. I'm just kind of like messing with some stuff. So next turn, we start with a battle, maybe in random number generator. I'm not using that yet. And then we'll create a new battle. So that's doing all this stuff. Affected stats will do. I got fancy. I memoized crap, but there's between another thing. I'm going to be explaining the entire stream here, but it seems like people are interested, so I'll keep going. Let's take a look back at the battle interface. So remember, we have our base attributes, which are on our unit. This is kind of like intrinsic to our unit. These won't change over the course of the battle. But if we look at the auras, let's just jump to auras here. Auras will have, well, this is kind of like all the data information, and they'll link via a aura description ID to this aura description. So this is kind of where all the functionality lives for an aura. You will see there's a passive stat effect. So the idea is this could potentially do something for a given unit. So for a unit at a given ID, it's going to do some adjustment to their stats. So it could be like if we're targeting a boss to try to make them not hurt so much, we can maybe put a aura on them to like reduce their attack by a certain amount. But sort of at the same time, like we could use it on a friendly unit. Like if we wanted to have like this huge glass cannon, we want to give them a bunch of extra attack stats. Maybe we have like a whole bunch of stuff that will be doing that. So Corbin's asking, how do I do graphics, Canvas, OpenGL? I'm thinking of Canvas. I'm thinking I'll probably do, what's the name of that engine? There's a JavaScript engine I've worked before that I rather like. I think it's called Photon.js. I think they actually like, maybe it's not Photon. What's the name of that? I'm Googling for it now. Let's see. Oh no, not Photon. Phaser. That's the name I was looking for. Yeah, I think Phaser will actually. I think most of the time, I think it'll let you choose between OpenGL and Canvas. I don't know. I don't really get into that level. That's kind of why I like it. It kind of like lets you not worry about that level of stuff with the API. So I'll probably use that. I'm probably going to do like Pokemon style kind of stuff where the canvas, the graphics itself will be like avatars for these units kind of bouncing around and maybe doing some attack animations at each other back and forth. But I think like a lot of the UI will just be web, like standard HTML. So like health bars and like as you could maybe tell from just from me describing it, there's a lot of mechanics to this game and a lot of like stats and stuff like that. So I want a lot of those stuff to be like really easy to get into. And that's stuff like game engines are not very good at, that kind of like structured data representation. So I think we'll do a lot of that. Me and Josh, Josh is, I don't know if Josh has got bored with this yet, but we had done some things in the past where we used like Phaser, like mouse over events on Phaser to do like interesting stuff, where we have HTML elements show up next to your cursor, depending on who you're moused over. So just hopefully there's some interesting stuff we can do there to really make a good UI. That's kind of the goal. So yeah, and really just that it's all in a browser, and we'll see. I don't want to commit to too much aside from that. So, but yeah, so you'll be able to affect people. If you're thinking about this, you should be able to affect someone's speed stats too, which like is going to affect how that speed system works and how all the turns work. So that's a whole other thing, but I haven't really gotten into that. But like I said, let's see, I think that kind of covers a lot of this stuff. You can maybe just taking a look at all the different stuff auras could do. An aura could tick, so you could have an aura like a poison that's just going to tick for a little bit in between every turn. Like poisons or burns, I think, are common things you see in other games that does this. You could also have when an aura completes, it could go off. So this could be like something like a time bomb, where after 5 turns you're going to explode for some damage or something happen. So there's also the idea of a channel. And this is getting complicated, but this is kind of like an active aura. So the idea here would be like if you have a wizard, he's casting something. So he's there purposely casting, I don't know, some arcane blast. Arcane blast, that sounds like something. Arcane missile, that's a D&D thing, right? If they're sitting they're casting it, they have to keep going until their cast is over, and then they'll like kind of kamehameha it out. And so that's the idea for channeling, is when a channel completes, it's kind of like you're casting something, but this implies that like someone else could potentially interrupt them from finishing that cast, or also like a channel tick. So there would be a similar idea. The only difference is, as opposed to everything happening when the cast is over, it would be a little bit gets applied at each time. So maybe like some sort of light beam or something, where one unit is focused on another and just like pushing energy at them, and they're ticking, much like the poison or the burn. They're ticking for a little damage over time, or maybe healing for a little damage over time, something like that. Then passive stat effects is something that's going to change like the how good a unit is at one of the stats we've given. So that's auras in a nutshell. If we look at moves are doing very much the same thing. So in much like a move's job pretty much all comes down to this move effect, where if we look at the params here, why would you give me IntelliSense on this? Oh, there you go. A move effect will take in a battle, and we'll need to know the performer ID and the target IDs. So like the user is really going to pick this. The performer ID is pretty much just going to be whoever is using the move. But the target IDs, the user would probably pick these. So if it's like a lightning blast that hits 3 people, maybe they click on 3 people to say these are who my target IDs are. And we'd pass in maybe a random number generator. I don't know. This would be like, does it do 4 damage or 5 damage? Something like that. Or does it crit? Something like that. I've got this passed in specifically as a param for now. I'm not sure if I like this, but the idea is by doing this, I can kind of write these really nice tests where I can just kind of mock out what that generator does. So it'll always return something I expect. But like a move, like if we had a move where like the light beam, for example, this move's job inside of this function would be to like apply an aura to someone. You'd probably, in the case of a channel, you'd probably like make the host be the person or the hero that's using it, and then the target of the aura be like the person you're firing on. And that aura would come in, and so the aura is what we'd attach to a given host or a source or targets. These probably need to be optional, but I won't touch that yet. And then they would tag to a aura description ID, and this would tag in sort of the functionality. So the idea is the engine's going to know, we'll start up the engine, where the engine is going to be preloaded with all the different order descriptions and move descriptions. It'll just know about that. And when someone does move or creates an aura or something, it'll just know, okay, let's check out what the functionality for these things are, and we'll make it happen. That's the engine's job. So that's what we're working on right now. Let's take a look at some of the moves I've made so far. Let's start by looking at our Aeons. So our first one is Hammer Mercabius. This is based off my original WoW character. He's half based off my original WoW character, which I named Mercabius, which has historical relevance. I'll bring up. Back there's in the Apocrypha of the Bible, there's a book called Maccabees, which is it's a story about a bunch of Jewish warriors who I forget what exactly they did, but they did something where there was an invading force and they were fighting against them. And this was in like 200 BC, 200, 100 BC, I want to say. But the name Maccabeus, or the Maccabees, was the Hammerer. And I thought that was so cool. There's something like so badass about that. So I was like, okay, that's me now. I'm the Hammerer. And so I named my WoW character Maccabeus. And now he lives on today as a character in Aeons of Ascension. But since I like Charmander, he'll be fire type. So he'll have all the good stuff that comes along with that. His base stats here, his scaling stats. So this will determine like how well he progresses, and this kind of determines what he starts at. Just some other stuff here. the idea is much like Pokemon, they'll have like learnable moves. So like a move table, they'll be able to learn. And then part of the progression will be like figuring out what you need to do or what boss fights you need to fight or what rare drops to get to like learn all the moves that your character could potentially know. And you could also get some from leveling up. So that's kind of like the idea here is it would just be a dictionary of on level 2, they learn tackle, for example. So I haven't done any of that planning out yet or starting move IDs. I could probably put in the fire hammer here because this fire hammer, that's why I gave the background story about the Cabius. It's kind of like a move specifically generated for him, but it's not very interesting. We're just, if we look at the move description, types is just always going to be fire, and the description is nothing interesting yet. But if we look at the move effect, the idea is we would hit them for kind of like 10 power. So we're going to take that power and we're going to incorporate the person using its attack, and we're going to take into account the person we're going to hit's defense, and we're going to like do some math on that and determine how much it's going to hit for. So pretty much what this does is it's going to do 10 damage of magnitude 10 to some target, and will energize, will gain 1 energy from doing that. So that's the idea here. If we look at this create move effect, this is just it's kind of like a generator for I think we can actually rename this. Let's say this is a move effect function. Oh, it doesn't like it now. Let's see, what doesn't it like about this? Thank you, TypeScript. Battle is missing for move effect. Did I screw this up? Let's see. Oh, yes, I did. Turns. Definitely screwed this up in some way. Let's see if we can go to our battle interface and kind of patch this out. What is a move effect param specifically? All right, so here we go. Sorry, y'all, I'm gonna have to make this a little smaller so I can keep everything inside. Let me make this bigger for y'all at least. Oops. Yeah, I think that's good enough. So for our move util, saying create move effect. So this is kind of like just a factory function. And the idea is it would create a new function that is going to take a move effect params and return a battle. I thought that's what this was. Oh, I think I just printed this. So we'll say battle. I think that's all I need to do. Okay. Good thing I found that. All right. Yeah, so we can say this is a move effect. Move effect. Let's try that. And move effect function. Does that make everything happy? Made everything happy enough. I'm guessing whatever tests I had failing are still going to be failing, but maybe we could take a look at those before we sign off, at least, so we could actually be doing something here. So the idea is like this create move effect would be this way of making it super shorthand. So when I actually define a move for Firehammer, for example, the Firehammer move effect, it's just defining some very key properties, like how much power does it have, how much should it spread. So this would be like if we look at standard spread, given a random number generator, it will give us something between like 70% and 130%. So yeah, we maybe adjust that. Like a whole other dimension to this is going to be like play testing this to figure out what's OP. So I don't know. we'll see if we get to that point. I hope we do, but we'll see if we get to that point. But by defining this, I can kind of just like pound. I could knock out a move effect. I could do the same exact thing. I think I already did this for like the tackle move. So if I open up tackle as a move over here, I think I need to adjust it because I did some refactoring recently. So I'll just do that. I want to say instead of flame hammer, this will be tackle. This will be a move description. Import that. And these things come over here. And this needs to be tackle. Grab this and say our move description ID is equal to that. And okay, I renamed this too. So create move effect. And there. Okay, it likes that now. So yeah, pretty much by creating this fire hammer move, I can also create tackle, which is the exact same thing. The only difference is really that its type is normal, whereas Firehammer's type is fire. And this is obviously incomplete because I still need to say like this is a move that the user is going to have to select one target when it's time to use that move, for example. And this this attack is like a physical attack. So we'll use attack and defense as opposed to special attack, which would use special attack and special defense. So it's still a work in progress. Maybe that's something that would be cool to use. Just use like, let's create maybe Ember. Ember's kind of like an interesting idea because it would just be the same thing, but it would be a special type effect. We could kind of build that into our engine. Let's see if we can do that. It's going to take us more than 3 minutes, but it's Friday, so it's all good. So we'll do a new file here. We'll call it ember.move.ts. And let's have it over here so we can compare it to our Firehammer. Let's grab everything over here for now. Let's paste it in. And maybe someday we'll do schematics for this, but today is not that day. So we'll do Ember. So really it's much, the way I imagine Ember working is it would be much the same as Firehammer. Still generates 1 energy, still fire, still power, and still standard spread. Yeah, Friday. My wife actually, today, she told me she had never actually seen the Rebecca Black Friday song. So we watched that earlier today. And my kids got to experience Rebecca Black. So that happened. I know. She had heard the song before, but she like didn't understand it was like a, I know. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. But whatever. They got to learn today. They got to learn. Make sure we remove all traces of hammering from this file. Probably could have done that more efficiently, but that's all right. Remove effect. Okay, so this all looks good, but we definitely need something here to signify that this is going to be a special attack as opposed to a physical. So let's jump into our create move effect. And this is going to have to go into our damage effect too. So the idea for this function, if we look at the damage effect params, this is everything it's going to take. The reason I do this, by the way, where I create an interface for params is I very much dislike having ordered params. I much prefer to have named params. So I name them. That's pretty much all this is. So yeah, given a battle, giving a damaging unit ID, given a damaged unit ID, given an energized function which may exist or may not, given some types, a function to determine the types of the move. As you can see, I've done this before, so I've like building in a lot of complexity into here that we don't need yet. but I'm just doing a lot of that stuff. Building a power function. Again, everything now is just returning a static power. And building a spread, providing a spread function, which is going to take a random number generator and then passing in the random number generator just to carry it on through. We're going to create a new battle. So this is pretty much just going to wrap up, like it will use the same one for like when we tick damage in an aura or in a channel or something like that. So this is the idea for this is it's reusable. We're just going to, like, based on the most basic units of everything we need, this is what happens. So yeah, that's what's going on there. So the damage effect is going to take all these things and turn into a new battle. But if we look at this damage function itself, this is like drilling in a step deeper, and here's some other damage params. So this is just like taking those things we had at the top level and drilling them even further down to what do we actually just need to find out to determine how much damage was done and how much damage was blocked. That's all the information we need from this function. So that's what we're doing here. We're saying we need an attack stat, doesn't matter who it's from. We need a defense stat, doesn't matter who it's from. We need an attacking type. So what type is the move? What type is the unit who used the move? What type is the unit getting hit by the move? Give me a random number generator. Give me the spread, and give me the power. And between all those things, we'll figure out how much damage was done, how much damage was blocked. So that's the idea here. We can look at my math. I don't know how interesting that'll be, but pretty much we determined the power. So for our tackle or for our fire hammer, this was just 10. So this will be a number in C. Spread is also going to just be a number, something between 70% and 130% for our standard spread, which we passed in. Our type multiplier, we're going to look at that type chart we were looking at before. So given some array of attacking types and some array of defending types, we're going to come up with a number by like just doing the cross product of all those. And then we're going to get the stab multiplier. So stab is the thing you won't have any idea of what's going on if you don't play Pokemon. But stab is like, if you're a fire Pokemon, you get an extra bonus for using fire-based attacks. So that's the idea there. So we're going to check all the attack types and check all the types on the unit and figure out do they get the stab bonus or not. And then we're going to determine how much damage they would have done. And this is a whole thing. This is where math comes in. Like, we're going to determine that from the power times the attack stat times the spread times the type multiplier times the stab multiplier. The block ratio is just going to be the attacker's attack stat divided by the attack stat plus the defense stat. This is very similar to how like League of Legends actually does damage. I think the Pokemon formula for determining damage is like bizarre. So I looked into that and like I was like, what is this mess? This made much more sense to me. So this is how much the defender is going to reduce the attack by when they get hit by it, and this will be determined by either their physical or special attack, depending on what type of attack it is. And then we'll figure out the damage done by multiplying the unblocked damage times the block ratio. And then we can just send over, here's how much damage done, and here's how much damage was blocked. And that'll give us all the information we need to have our units or have our heroes hit each other. So it's great. We can see here, once we have our damage object, we're going to see if we kind of knock out or kill our damaged unit. If we do, we're going to like turn their is alive to false and set their health to 0, and we'll energize the person who used it. And if they don't, we'll just kind of let them stay alive but adjust their health accordingly right here. aside from that, these things are identical. So that's what's going on there. Pretty much what we need to do to this damage effect. I think we just need to go into our damage effect params. Where is that? Damage effect params. And I think we just need to add another property, another param to this. Say damage. I don't know. We'll call it damage class for now. This will either be physical or special. So let's do that. Where'd I go? Okay. Let's do that up here. We'll create a new type for this. I don't know if it belongs here. It might belong into the battle interfaces, but we'll put it here for now. We'll say damage class equals, and then it'll either be physical or special. And this needs to be a type. There we go. Let's replace that down here. Damage class. Then when we pass this into damage, I don't think we need to change our damage any, actually, because we have attack stat and defense stat. So we'll say, let's pass this in to destructure the damage class out of our params. And we'll say damage class equals physical. In that case, we'll still want it to be as it's behaving today. But otherwise, we do the same thing, but we'd use the special stat. We'll do the same for defense here. Copy that. Question mark, colon. Let's do that so Prettier can format this for me. This needs to be something bigger so I can. Gosh, dang it. Okay, whatever. Oh, there it goes. That's what I wanted. That's all I wanted. Just Prettier to reset my screen for me. So we'd do the same thing as up here. And we'd say special. I think that's pretty much it. Like at this point, all we have to do is we have to go to our fire hammer. I guess we'll need to adjust some of this stuff too. Let's go into create move. And if we look at our create on use effects, let's get some more space here. We're just going to want to add a damage class here. Save. And what doesn't it like about this? Oh, because it needs a damage class. Yeah. So we'll destructure out the damage class here and pass that into our damage effect class. Yes, that's all I wanted. Very nice not to worry about order with when you got a lot of params like this. So I definitely recommend, no matter what you're doing, use this pattern. I think it solves more problems than the kind of the headache it is to create that interface. Anyways, let's see. We got that in. So now this works. We just need to pass that into our fire hammer. So we'll say fire hammer is physical. For our ember here, we'll say damage class is special. Boom. Let me open up the file system again. We'll just take a look at the spec files real quick. We'll see if we can write a quick spec file for ember to make sure it's working right. So let's make a new file. Ember move spec ts. And we'll just kind of copy what we've got going for fire hammer here. Oops. Sorry, I'm going to make this kind of small. Just so I can get everything I need here. Let's, okay. Let me make this big again. I think I had like some testing utils I was using. I might not. What is this? Out here. I think I have some testing utils. Yeah. That. Okay. This needs to get refactored to move effect. And over here, just refactoring real quick stuff I did right before stream, like a silly guy. Trying to get ready. Let's see. Your lame covering. Beautiful logo. I'm sorry, Josh. There you go. You can kind of see it over there. I think we still have, I think I still own the URL, fansofascension.com. Yeah, if you want to see the logo, go check it out. It's right there. It's very small. The banner is very small there because I kind of tore everything down and started refactoring a long time ago. And I know, isn't that an amazing logo? So here's the whole thing. Let me see if I can just can I just like remove my, no, if I do that, how do I just get the logo on screen? StreamYard. I don't know. Let me just pull in this browser and I'll make it real big. There we go. Quick note on the logo, because I love the way this turned out. This was Aeons of Ascension. I don't know. It's a name I came up with on an offshoot, like way back when I first did this exercise of making a RPG game. Yeah, no, I was like, I want this to do like some Firebase stuff. So this is actually like updated to my Firebase store. So you'll see it every time you refresh, it goes up a little bit. But yeah, oh, someone else is doing it. Nice. Yes. Yes. There we go. That's what I like to see, y'all. So the more you do this, I actually have to end up paying like a Firebase bill because each one of these is technically a read. And the more people on that, like those reads like go out exponentially. So it's a whole thing. But yeah, keep refreshing if you want. I don't want. I'll pay that bill gladly. But if we look at the logo, no, Caitlin's getting ideas. No scripts, please, no scripts to just hit my website on a whole bunch of different browsers at the same time. I think after not too many, I would start getting a pretty large bill. Anyways, going back to the logo, so much I like about this. The upward trajectory from the pyramid going up with the ascension idea. You got the Eye of Horus, is that right? The like Illuminati confirmed type thing kind of going on there too, which kind of like goes into the theme I was wanting to do. And like the whole theme for this, if you can see the background, I was like 80s glam neon was the theme I really wanted. So I don't know. Maybe if we get enough money, we'll buy some sprites from someone who's like good at that stuff. Or Josh, I don't know. I feel like that's not in your skill set, but if it is, let me know. We'll make a deal. And but yeah, the Eye of Horus here is not only like an eye, it's also AOA, if you look at it, which I thought was super cool. So much so that when we do the actual, Corbin has an idea. I hope it's not I hope it's not a script to drive my. Let's see if we can make it work. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to get this stuff up here, like get something working where people can actually play with it and see if we get some good engagement in. Because I think, like, I don't know, I think there's something here. I think there's something to the idea. But the thing with the AOA here too is because of the energy system. I want to incorporate this into the energy system, so you can see there's kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a fifth edge, where the fifth edge would just be like the I or the O in the middle. And so the idea is as you gain energy, this is kind of the UI that's going to appear. So if you have 0 energy, it's going to be all dimmed out. But as you get more energy, like it'll start filling up more. And then when you're at 5 energy, that'll be like the max for each unit. You'll be like full on ready to go off on people. So that's the idea. Anyways, going back to our test stuff. Let's see if we can write a test for this real quick. So we have the test, create test unit. Is this what I want? I think this is what I want. No, this is just for creating a unit to test with. Create move on use effect test. Which is so this needs to be, suggest this to be a move effect. Oh, wait. Oh no. No, I'm reverse engineering the site. Oh no. So you could probably do that the way I did it, but message sender. Yeah, I don't know. It's using the Firebase stuff. Oh no. About the API key. Well, I think that that counter is like totally set up. So yeah, that'll work. I don't have like auth set up properly on my Firebase stuff. So maybe Corvid after this, I'll have to go ahead and shut that site counter down just to make this stuff not work. But yeah. Yeah, you could probably do some interesting stuff there. I need to move it to like a Firebase function so we don't do that kind of bad stuff in there. But whatever. Going back to this, let's get this set up. Move effect. Move effect is here. Let's do move effect params. This needs to be a function. I'm sorry. I go. Okay. I think this is all it is. That test at the bottom there is just to make Jess not complain about it. So it's just a single passing test. Well, thanks for exposing to anyone how to attack it, Corbin. It's okay. You're a white hat here. That's the way I see it. You showed me about something I need to adjust. But yeah, let's see. I think this is pretty much all I want to do. Params. What are params again? Okay, that's the battle and all this stuff. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll just have it. I'll just go into the Firebase console as soon as the stream's done and just like adjust it so that you need to be logged in for the site counter to work. So that should cut things down. Or if I'm just get lazy, just add an auth rule to the message or to the site counter, so no one can do it. You guys shut down all the fun. But yeah, let's see if we can get this test knocked out. Let's just get a basic test here, and we'll wrap up the stream because we're starting to run a little long now. We'll pretty much do the same thing here, except we won't use this create test because we'll already have our move. Create move on use. Let's just call it move. Let's rename the symbol so I can adjust it because I think my tackle right now is using it. So we'll create move effect test. And this way I should be able to ember someone. So I'm going to be in here. I'm going to describe ember. Do that capital. And we're going to create a let mock RNG is generate. We'll do adjust mock. I should just copy this over for each So before each test, we'll create a new generator. We'll just do test hitting a punching bag. And let's actually look at the tackle move spec. I think we'll have to adjust this. We're refactoring tackle move effect. Tackle move effect, and this needs to be now move effect. Ah, that's better now. I think this could just be essentially just the same exact thing. So we'll create a starting battle. Let's grab this. Boom. Oh, sorry, Corbin. I did just see your comments. As far as I know, function costs less more call. So I don't know if I go that way. Yeah. I don't know. Site counter probably in general is just a bad idea. But as long as it wasn't super known at the time, I just kind of wanted to see if people were looking at it without going through the other stuff. Now it's super easy to like set up Google Analytics on a Firebase thing. So maybe I'll just pull it all out and just use Google Analytics to see. So cool. Thanks for showing. Yeah, that's a good point. Database rules to verify the payload is only val +1. Yeah, that makes sense. I think if you get some weird stuff there, maybe if like you had two people hitting it at the same time, because everyone's going to go to the site now, so we're going to have a lot of people hitting it at the same time. So I don't know. Well, I'm sorry. I'm getting all distracted. Let's get our test in and get out of here. And I'll go fix that stuff. But yeah, so we'll just copy over the same battle for now. Copy, paste. So this is kind of our starting battle. Let's import all these great functions and stuff. And for our move, we'll use Ember, I believe it was. Ember. Import Ember from ember.move. There we go. We'll give him move Ember. We'll call this guy Ember Bro. And that'll be our move. So for a second person, the person will hit with it. We'll just make them our standard dummy. I think that makes sense. So there's our starting battle. The next step is our expected result. Copy. This would really be the same expected results, except this would be our Ember Bro. This would be Ember. Oh, two birds. Kill two tackles with one Ember. Still fire. I guess over here. No, never mind. This needs to be Ember. I mean to only do an hour, but I tend to go over when I live stream. Yeah, I still do daily. I'm still on schedule, kind of. Like my schedule, Corbin, is 6:30 Monday through Thursday during the week, and 3:30 on Fridays. And the point for the Fridays was Fridays I can do a little bit earlier, and when I was doing a lot of guests, there's some guests who couldn't do that slot. But they could do like the earlier slot. So that's why I was doing that on Fridays. I'm just kind of following that now. I think this looks right. Here's the expected result. And then I want to create the move effect test. Create move. Let's just copy it. Who are we kidding? I'm not a good typer. Let's import that. Instead of the tackle move effect, we're going to want to use the Ember move effect. And this should be the same. So let's see. Is this right? So this expected result, they'd have 500 health after all this is done. I think that's right. So they're going to start out, I think the standard is it's like the Oh, I'm back. That was weird. Maybe a sign it's almost time to end. Let's see. Let's make sure this is going right. But I think create a test unit. I think when we create them, yeah, they're going to start with 1,000 health, or if we give a health, we'll use that instead. And we're not given one, so they'll start with 1,000. This move should do 500 based on all these factors. Let's see if we can run that real quick. I think this will probably fail. Let's see, can we move this over here? There we go. So we're going to test our engine. Just watch. This doesn't look good, y'all. Okay, it failed. Let's see. A lot of them failed. Probably something in my refactor that just bungled everything. Argument of type is not assignable. Let's see what this is talking about. I think there's more refactors stuff I'll need to do. Okay, yeah, this needs damage class, physical. We'll just kind of go through those until we wrap up all the errors and see if that fixes our tests. Okay, one passing. All right, let's see. Next turn. Okay, this is, yeah. Get rid of a lot of this aura stuff. I'm just going to skip all of these, I think, for now, because I think I broke the next turn function stuff beyond repair with some of the stuff I did right before stream. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, still getting a lot of failures. Even with excluding it, I think we're still getting some TypeScript stuff. No, I want to do it all. Let's just do all it out. I don't think that'll actually solve any of the other tests, but okay. Oops. Let's just hit A to run them all again. Boom. Okay, they all passed but one. Ember failed. Let's see how Ember failed. Embro, bro. Okay, the health was off too, though. So we'll have to see why that happened. I think it should be the same, but we'll take a look. Let's get rid of everything but embers, because I'm definitely like scatterbrained at the moment. Get rid of all this stuff. We'll move Ember down here for now. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. Let's put Ember on this side. Sure this is all coming out right. Okay. So we need to fix the name. Ember Bro. And okay, so hitting a punching bag, we're hitting it too hard. Oh, it's because I got stab on there. I wasn't expecting it. Let's put this to normal. There's a stab bonus making him hit harder. Next turn is failing because it must contain at least one test. Ember is still failing though. Let's see. Okay, it's seeing that the type of the one thing changed. The type of our unit changed there from fire to normal. Okay, we'll need to adjust that, but I think that was the only thing. So in our starting battle, he should be normal, and in our expected battle, he should also be normal. And do that. All right, we're passing everything except for the next turn, which just doesn't have any tests. So I'm going to call that a good stream. Thanks everyone for showing up. It was lots of fun. I had a really good time. Hopefully we'll look to do this again next week. Maybe trying to do some UI and React with this. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So I'll be excited for next week. I think we got a couple guests next week. I'll be announcing those on Monday. So looking forward to that. Y'all have a great weekend. I'll see y'all next week. Bye now.